So there are a lot of people saying that they want to leave the United States because Donald Trump won the election. Um, Now, as dumb as I think that idea is, I spend a lot of time overseas and I've been to a lot of places. And I think I can help you if that's really what you want to do. Europe is pretty complicated to move to. Canada is fairly easy. The economy's bad in Canada, just as bad as the United States. Inflation's ridiculous in Canada, even worse than the United States. There's always Australia, New Zealand. Those are great places, and they speak English, and it's not too hard to get a visa. Now, I haven't really spent that much time there, so I can't help you much in those areas. But if you're talking about maybe East Africa, Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, that neighborhood, even Kenya or the Philippines, I've been to those places. I've spent years there, and so I'll be able to help you with that. Now, East Africa, Malawi speaks English because it used to be a British colony. English is spoken by a lot of business people in that whole area, but the general people that you'll run into, nah. So, unless you feel like learning a couple of new languages, just not the greatest idea. Unless, if you want to try to learn Swahili, then you can move to Tanzania. But Malawi is an English-speaking country. The economy is not great, but American money is worth a lot of money there. It takes 2,000 Malawi kwacha to make an American dollar. And I built a 4,000 square foot home there for $68,000. There's 11,000 square mile lake where my house is. So, I like it there, or I wouldn't have built my retirement home there. Pretty simple. You can rent a house for 40 or 50 bucks a month, and that will give you time to look around. You can stay at a hotel. You can find a hotel for $5 or $10. You can get a really nice room at a resort for 40 or 50, and that gives you time to look around. Malawi's not that big. It's only about the size of Florida, so just a few days, maybe a week, you'll be able to look over the whole country pretty much. And it's a foreign country. It's not America. It's a third world country. So living is cheap. The cost of living is cheap. The people are nice. But it's a third world country. So most of the roads aren't paved. The legal system is not like it is here. The police will just put barrels up next to the road and put a stick across the road, and that's their checkpoint. And if they say you were speeding, then they don't have a speed gun or anything. They're looking for a bribe, and that's the kind of thing you're just going to have to deal with. But if you want to move there, it's easy. You just go, and when you get to the airport, you can either do it online, or you can get to the airport. You can fill out a visa application, and they'll give you one. And renewing a visa is real easy. I've done it myself lots of times. So, if that's what you want to do, there is that possibility. If you want to go to the Philippines, it's the same thing. You don't need a visa. You can get there and fill out all the paperwork after you get there. You'll get a visa. You can do an extension anytime you want. Everybody speaks English for the most part. There's 7,000 islands in the Philippines. If you want to go to a mega city like Manila, you can find a decent apartment for, let's say you go to the Tracy Martirez area of Manila. You can, nice quiet neighborhood, you can get an apartment for 40, 50 bucks a month. But I would recommend in the Philippines, since there are 7,000 islands, the best thing you could do would be to get an Airbnb. I mean, you can get a really, really nice Airbnb on the beach for $300 a month. And you can go from there to the other islands. You can check everything out and, decide where you want to stay, where you want to go, where you want to look around. There are certain areas in the Philippines that are cooler. You can Google that. Places that are not so hot, places that are not so prone to monsoons and hurricanes and such. They're the friendliest people, as far as I'm concerned, friendliest people in the world. Hands down. The inflation has hit them pretty bad, but American money is still worth like 60 pesos to the dollar. And since Trump got elected, the dollar is even stronger just in the last few days. So the exchange rate's going to be even more favorable for an American. There are companies, forwarding companies. You can send all your stuff over there if you want to. Really, though, I mean, you can buy anything you need there, which is not really the case in East Africa. There's a lot of stuff you really need to bring with you if you want it, because you won't find it there. So my channel is called American in Paradise, and I have another one called Starting Over in the Philippines. American in Paradise is about Malawi and East Africa. If you want to watch those videos, you can learn all about the culture and the people and see the houses and the cost of living and see what a $50 apartment looks like and all that kind of stuff. I have on my channels various different houses at various different prices that shows you, okay, $50 a month will get this, $100 a month will get that. There is an area in Manila called BGC, Baguio Global City. And if you're walking down the street, it looks like Las Vegas. Big, tall buildings, big screen TVs. 10-foot screens everywhere you look. American type places, there's Nike shops and everything. High-end restaurants. Now, in Philippines, $10 is a high-end restaurant. In America, it might be $100, $150. But in the Philippines, $10 is high-end. And there are places in BGC you can go and get salmon. You can get a banana cream pie. You can get American stuff, but you're going to pay for it. Now, the big difference between East Africa and Philippines, I would say the number one difference, if you want to move there, is that in Malawi, you can go and you look at a piece of land. If you like it, you just pay them, go to town, do the paperwork, and the land's yours. You cannot do that in the Philippines. You cannot. If you open a business and go through all the rigmarole, you can own land. Or if you marry a Philippine citizen, they can own land. But then there's the possibility they can take the land and you're hosed. So what most people do, especially Americans, is if they're going to marry a Philippine citizen, they will put the land in the spouse's name and then sign a lease, a 99-year lease, so that the land is leased and the house is theirs. They own the house. They don't own the land it sits on. But most of the people moving to the Philippines are, over 40 anyway, so they just sign a long-term lease and they figure when they pass away, they're not going to have to worry about it anyway. So there's that. Now, in Malawi, it's really easy. It's basically same as buying a car. You give the people the money, you go to town, you do the paperwork, bing, bang, boom, it's done. Now, in Malawi, only about 25% of the roads are paved. So if you're going to ship a vehicle over there, don't ship a sports car. That's a really bad idea. There are potholes the size of New Jersey. Don't do it. Get a four-wheel drive or at least an SUV that sits maybe 12, 14, 16 inches off the ground so that those potholes won't swallow your car. There are a lot of paved roads if you want to stay in the city or near a city. piece of cake. There are big supermarkets in all the big cities. They do have some American stuff, like in Blantyre, Malawi, and Lilongwe, Malawi. They have KFC and things like that. In Philippines, they have all that stuff. They have McDonald's. Now, the menu is not the same, because they have fried chicken and rice and stuff like that at the McDonald's in the Philippines that you're not going to find in Malawi. You won't find a McDonald's. Now, if you were to move to East Africa and you wanted to basically retire there for life, it's not a difficult thing to do. And you could do the same thing in the Philippines, but then again, like I said, it's the land ownership problem. It's a real issue if you want to own land. Now, you can own a condo because it's in a big building. You're not buying the dirt. See? And you can start a business there in partnership with a Filipino, and open a bar or whatever it is you want to do. There again, another thing, those places are very, very, very conservative. So you're going to see things, if you're a liberal, you're going to see things that are going to drive you crazy. And you got two choices. You can either keep it to yourself, or you can get into lots and lots and lots of trouble in a hurry. You're going to see 50, 60-year-old men with girls that are 18. You're going to see people of a certain religion in East Africa that are marrying girls that are 10, 12 years old. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're going to see people riding a motorcycle with a pig tied to it, and the pig, and people just grabbing chickens and stuffing them into a bag and throwing it over their shoulder, live chickens, getting on a bus with them. Those are the kind of things you're going to see. You're going to see people kicking a dog. You're going to see lots of things that bother you. You're going to see kids working at a store or working in a production facility that are 10, 12, 14 years old. Those are things you're just going to have to live with. I mean, that's just how it is. And if you can't live with that, then your best bet is to stay in the good old USA. Because if you don't, then there are things that are going to be happening around you that are going to drive you crazy. In most foreign countries, abortion is either frowned on or illegal, and especially in East Africa and the Philippines. Divorce is illegal in the Philippines. So, you're going to see things that are going to drive you crazy. So you better reconsider if you're thinking about living in one of those places. Now, I've said about all I can in this video, but if you want to learn more about any of those places, if you want to learn about East Africa, then my channel is called American in Paradise. There's 500 videos on there, and you're going to learn everything you need to know about moving to that part of the world. My channel for the Philippines is called Starting Over in the Philippines, and if you want to learn about that, there's I don't know, 150 or so videos on there that kind of explain how everything works in the Philippines. Philippines has some very strange laws. I do a lot of videos on that. Like, for instance, if you get in a car accident, whoever has the biggest car, it's their fault. And in the Philippines, you may be forced to pay child support for a child that the court knows perfectly well is not your child. It ain't gonna matter. They'll make you do it anyway. So, first thing you're going to want to do is get an attorney if you're going to the Philippines, so that you can understand what the laws are in your particular situation. But in either case, moving is not that complicated. There's a company called Amazam, A-M-A-Z-A-M. You can take totes, containers, furniture, a car, whatever you want, and they will ship it to Africa for you. Going through customs is a lot of fun. Not. but that's part of the deal. So there's that. Anyway, I hope I helped, and hope you have a happy life wherever it is you decide to spend it.